Hi, folks. Hope everyone's okay. I've just had a thought because I've seen quite a lot of remarks recently about the long boarding time it's taken to go on some of the cruises. And I just wondered, would something called Twilight Check In, something which I did years ago, actually help ease the huge queues and make life a lot easier while I was on the MSC Virtuosa maiden voyage, and I was also on the Morello Explorer, their first cruise this year, and I experienced check-in with a maximum of 1,000 people, and it was about an hour for both ships. It was reasonably efficient, but obviously everybody has to be tested. Now, in the UK, for instance, things have opened up a lot, and now a lot of the ships are getting closer to full capacity, but they haven't really changed the process. So rather than 1,000 people, you're having 3,000, maybe 4,000 people turn up. So Twilight, just to explain what Twilight Check-In is. Long time ago, when I was younger, I used to, when flying to the Caribbean, one or two of the airlines allowed you to do a Twilight Check-In on the evening before you flew, because a lot of us were staying in hotels quite close. Now, in the cruising community, many of us go to hotels the night before because we don't want to take a chance that something's going to happen. So there's a huge amount of people at the cruise area the night before. So I wondered if they did something like a Twilight check-in in the evening before to help ease the huge queues. Now, what would happen? They probably have to find an area really easy to get to, first of all, yeah? And say somewhere between maybe 6 and 9, example. What happens is if you are staying in that area, you quite simply turn up at the point. It could be the cruise terminal, it could be somewhere else, I don't know, whatever time they're saying. And what happens is they do a few things. They check your paperwork first of all, yeah? Now, that's not a bad idea because if there's a lot of questions about insurance, a lot of confusion. If your paperwork isn't 100% correct, you can fix it in the morning. That's a very positive thing. And secondly, they do the test. You get tested. And if you're clear, what they do is they issue you a boarding pass for the next day. So rather than turn up the next day and get in the huge queue with everybody else, the people who are there in the port area can turn up and simply go through security, obviously, drop the suitcases off first of all, which is very, very simple. Let's take them off you, go through security and board the ship. It's as simple, as quick as that. That surely would ease some of the huge queues. And also, lots of us, like I've experienced it as well, where I'm staying in the hotel the night before, 12 o'clock, I'm out, yeah? I'm kicked out of that hotel, boarding time, 4 o'clock. What do I do for 4 hours? And what if it's raining? What do I do? So it helped solve that problem. So it's just one idea that I had that maybe they should think about while we're in this pandemic as such, to make life easier, because the process, as far as safety is concerned, is going really well so far. Fingers crossed, yeah? But I've noticed quite a few people are saying the queues are getting too long. And I've experienced the queues, and for an hour is not a problem. But you're talking 2-3 hours plus. I think something needs to be done while they're still got the same system of being tested, because some of these ships hold 5,000 people. And if you've got 5,000 people all turn up, you can say, okay, some 11 o'clock, some 4 o'clock, some 5 o'clock, but it's still huge queues and people turn up at the wrong time anyway. So it's just a concept that I did it before when I flew to the Caribbean. It was great. I stayed in a hotel close by. I checked in at the actual airport. I was able to get rid of my suitcases as well, which is great. And I just turned up the next day through security, and it was easy. No big queues. So just to go through again, it's called a Twilight check-in system. I wondered whether or not it would be useful to help ease the huge queues, because if there's like 500 or 1,000 people who are in hotels locally, a huge amount of those can just turn up. And it's great because if you turn up the night before and you get everything perfectly sorted out, you can then turn up after 12 o'clock maybe whenever, the next day, once you're kicked out of the hotel, and it's really simple, you're not adding to the huge lines. I just think that something like that would be helpful, because things have to change. If they're going to continue the same system as they did when they first started cruising again, especially in the UK, with a maximum of 1,000, if they've got 4,000 to 5,000 people, you know, something has to change, because again, a lot of people are really upset. I mean, we're so happy to be on the ship. We're so happy for what they're doing. We feel so safe for what they're doing. But 2 to 3 hours, a lot of people can't queue for that long. And it just doesn't create the right atmosphere. I think they need to do 1 or 2 small little things. And if they're going to go money, it's a fortune, we can't do it for staff, you know, then charge us. What? A tenner. You know, if 500 people paid a tenner, that's 5 grand already. You know, so if they're going to say it's about money, you know, it doesn't have to be done at the cruise terminal. It could be done in one of the hotels close to the cruise terminal that everybody can get to, or anything like that, even, you know, anywhere. So I just thought that could be a potential idea. Please don't shoot me down if you think it's crazy, but I do think that we need to do something just to ease the queues while we're in this pandemic as such, and while we got more and more people who want to cruise, because we're watching everybody on board having such a fantastic time. So please let me know in the comments, and admins, all the Facebook groups I share it to. Thank you so much. I hope it doesn't cause any arguments. I'm just trying to suggest an idea, that is all. So thank you, and happy cruising.